Alrighty, we are live once again for Halloween week 2025 with a great little pairing for this matinee and Pray at Night for the late night tonight. Because I haven't seen the original Strangers here in a while, since I did a video on it a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. So, hey Tasha, how you doing? How's everything? I haven't seen this movie since then. So it's been like a year and a half, 2 years. And I vastly prefer, a lot of you know, I vastly prefer Pray at Night to the original here. Hey, what's up, Steven? Yeah, it's been a while, man. How you doing? Good to see you. Happy spooky season. Hope all's been well with you, man. But yeah, Bryan Bertino, his first film, written and directed. Matt, what's up, buddy? I was just thinking of you actually, like 10 minutes ago. That's funny. How you doing, man? But Bryan Bertino was a great writer and director. I would say he's a better writer than director, honestly. But this was his debut, and he also produced. I didn't know this until more recently that he was a producer on Black Coat's Daughter, which makes a lot of sense because of Osgood Perkins' style and his directing being very deliberately paced, like that slow, deliberate pace that draws out an eerie atmosphere, is very similar to Bertino's stuff and his style. So it makes sense that he produced Perkins' film, his first horror film. And I'm pretty sure that was Perkins' first film in general, right? Black Coat's Daughter. Pretty sure that it was his debut. You got a great lineup of movies. Yeah, I know. I have just a few that I only picked a few of them. I mean, I put up polls for most of them. I just picked the yearly traditional ones that we do annually, like The Thing, the Day of the Dead, The Thing, and Halloween on the 29th, 30th, and Halloween night. Everything else was pretty much there was like two that were picked by me. The Exorcist was a cheat too because I put it up against Hell Night and and just said, let's see some love for Linda Blair. And it got annihilated by The Exorcist. It was like 95% to 5%. It was ridiculous. But yeah, man, I'm looking forward to From Beyond for sure. That is going to be a lot of fun. And yeah, you better wear that leather costume. You better wear a very appropriate one. I don't know. You might look better than Barbara Crampton did back then. Dawn of the Dead. What's up? How you doing, buddy? Excellent film, but my least favorite in the original Dead trilogy. Day is my favorite. Then Night, then Dawn. But it's small gaps between the three of them. But all right, if anyone wants to watch along, I'm soloing this one, and I might have Nat on later for Pray at Night. But these are movies I really want to talk about. Even though I did videos on both a while back, I've grown to love Pray at Night more so. I fucking love that sequel. I love Pray at Night. It has one of the greatest scenes of that decade of the 2010s. It's so stylish. And everything that we've gotten from Rennie Harlin with The Strangers Chapter 1 and 2, it's really disheartening because it's Rennie Harlin. And he's an excellent director who's done some amazing movies like Die Hard 2 and Nightmare on Elm Street 4 he started with. And he's done so many movies. The Exorcist, it's not a great one, but his cut of the Exorcist prequel, what is it, The Beginning and Dominion prequel to The Exorcist is who did the other one? I don't know, it's not important. But he's done a lot of movies. And to see how bad The Strangers Chapter 1 and 2 has been, it's really been disheartening. Because this film is an excellent movie. Even though I've never been huge on the first Strangers, There's so much great tension that's built throughout this whole movie. I love the whole dynamic between Liv Tyler and Scott Speedman, or Speedman, right? Not Spedman, Speedman. Um, the whole him being turned down, proposing to her, that's awkward as shit, right? Then what you think your night already sucks. Then you have all this shit happen. And the Tamara line is iconic. So this is going to be fun rewatching it. It's been a while. And with some of the stuff in chapters 1 and 2, the new ones that are terrible for the most part, they do explore some backstory, and now it's making me wonder and look at certain things and look back on certain lines, particularly at the end of the movie, in a different way, and wonder if Bertino had, those same ideas in mind. We'll get to it, but I'll do a 3, 2, 1, go. I put the look movie link. It's also streaming nowhere that I know of. They really safeguard the shit out of this original movie. You got to rent it everywhere. Pray at Night is free all over the place. It's even on YouTube for free, and uploaded too. So Pray at Night later, that's an easy one. It's right on YouTube. But this, you got to rent it, or if you own it, pop it in, or it's free on Look Movie, which I put the link on. So let's do it. 3, 2, 1. Tamara. Which is such a great line, but it's been so fucking overdone at this point. If I hear that name one more time, and I know I'm going to, you're hearing it in Strangers Chapter 3, which I don't know if that movie's going to even go to theaters because it was so bad. Chapters 1 and 2, especially 2 was even worse. I thought that was even worse. It's like an hour and 20-minute chase sequence with none of the style, none of the tension or the atmosphere or the eeriness or the great shots or any type of creativity or life in it in any way. It's really sad because this isn't a franchise that you can really, and I said this in those videos on both these movies and on the recent ones, you can't really extend this into a franchise with like 5, 6, 7 entries. I just don't see it working with the premise. And I always joke and say, but it's not really a fucking joke. They're called the Strangers. That's literally their names and the name of this whole property and the movies. We're not supposed to know anything about them. And it's scarier when there's no motive. And the less we know about them, the scarier they are. We know more about the Strangers now more than anybody in the entire franchise. Any of the characters, any other character, we know the Strangers more than any of them, which sucks all the mystery out of all of it. And then these new ones, they start giving flashbacks to their childhood and baby face, and there was some type of romance between the man in the mask and her, or at least a very deep bond, which is one of those things I want to like pay attention to and see if there's a line or two that makes me think that maybe it was intended like that in this movie. Because that last line at the end of the film, when they leave the house and Dollface takes the flyer from the kids and says, after she's asked if she's a sinner or if she sinned, she says sometimes. And she gets into the truck and Pinup Girl says to her, it'll be easier next time. I always didn't know how to fully take that. You can take it in a few ways. Was Dollface Pinup Girl telling Dollface that it'll be easier next time? As in Dollface was the newer one that joined them? And that would make a little more sense with the little backstory we got in chapters 1 and 2, that there's some type of bond between Pinup Girl and Man in the Mask. So it made me wonder if Bertino originally thought that with these characters, that Dollface was the newest one. And hell, maybe the whole Tamara thing like was her initiation, and like, you're the new bitch, you got to get in there and start all this before we do our thing. That's what I might be leaning towards. But you can also take it as that I don't think it is though, no, because they say in the opening scene here with the narration that this has happened before, right? This isn't their first time doing this. It might be doll faces, but it's not all three of theirs, even though some people might take it that way, that them saying it'll be easier next time, meaning for all of them. But I don't think this is the first time they did it. Especially because they're like fucking phantoms in this movie. That's one thing I like better about Prey at Night too. They're like more human beings. They're actual humans, and they all get their asses handed to them in that film. Is another thing I love, that they actually fight back the kids in the sequel. But this one's definitely more the slow burn and more of a atmospheric and tension driven film for sure than and just like Bertino directed movies often are. He didn't direct Prey at Night. So we got Kristen and what the hell's his name? We'll find out in a sec. The husband. I always forget the husband. No, not the husband. The boyfriend turned down fiance. They go to this vacation home in the middle of nowhere right after a wedding. And after you got a bunch of drinks in you at a wedding and stuff, you get back, you're tired. He thinks that's the best time to pop the question. I don't know. It sucks though. It sucks seeing him go through that. Let me get through some of these comments. No worries, Tasha. You can always listen. Who else is here? Yeah, thanks, Stephen. I was pretty positive it was his debut. I'm watching. I'm watching along in spirit, just like the spirits, like these people are. You ever seen the movie Them? If you like the show, funny you brought that up because I just did a like a short few minute video on TikTok about that movie because I couldn't remember. I just watched The Strangers Chapter 2 a few weeks ago, and when it got me back into thinking these movies, and that's why I put these up as a poll choice for this week for the watch-alongs. And I was reading, and I couldn't remember if I saw Them, the French film. Ils is the French title, right? And I was reading stuff on The Strangers, and I saw that a lot of people considered The Strangers not a full ripoff, but that it took a lot from Them. So I couldn't remember if I saw it, and I ended up throwing it on. It's pretty short, and I could see it a bit, like a tiny bit, just with the whole premise of a home invasion. And you got a couple at a home, you got people fucking with them severely, like psychologically and then physically. Then it really deviates after that. But I didn't care for it too much. Them. I thought it had some good tense scenes. I thought it had some creative stuff. It was directed pretty well for the budget, especially. But and the reveal, what I'm talking about, is pretty damn good. It's creepy, especially considering who they are. The two Exorcist sequels combined could make an awesome film. Oh yeah, the two prequel versions. That's who it is. Skarsgård. I forgot the one who directed. He did right prequel to The Exorcist, and Harlan's was titled The Beginning. Yeah, I know what you meant. Really, you love that movie? I mean, that's great. I'm glad you did. I just I just don't get it. I don't know like why they exist in the first place. And unless they nail it, they just knock it out of the park with chapter 3. it still wouldn't be worth it for me because I didn't like the first two at all. So I would never watch all three of them back to back, even if the third had an amazing payoff. But I saw the trailer, which I usually do not watch trailers. I didn't care for it. I didn't. I don't like at all what any of that looks like. The direction it might go in. I just don't think it's a premise, like I said, that you can stretch past two movies. I think Pray at Night was a great way to end it. They all die at the end, and that's it. That's it. There's nothing new in chapter one. There was nothing done differently. It was all done worse and with not as much style, tension, atmosphere, performance wise, all of that. It was a carbon copy, just a discount version of reboot of the original here. And chapter two is just like an hour and 20-minute chase sequence with barely, and then the boar scene, and she gets attacked by the boar and all that. I don't know. It did not work for me at all. I'm glad you enjoy it though. And Madeline does do a very good job. Or is it Madeleine? I don't know how to say her name. But she's the only thing to carry these movies. She's the one of the only positives that I took out of those two. Yeah, no, I know Maya. Yeah, I know who she plays. But yeah, she does a good job. But and she has a lot resting on her because, and first of all, these three chapters, I feel like it's, I joked about this too. I think that they're blackmailing Rennie Harlan. I think they got some shit on him, and they said, "Listen, we need a good director. We're gonna milk this fucking franchise. Let's get a decent director with a very good reputation who's made some good movies, great movies even, and get him attached." They went to Rennie. They said, "Hey, you want to do 3 Stranger films?" Not really. It's like, well, you know what we can, say about it. All right, fine. That's how it feels. That's how they honestly feel to me. They feel like soulless cash grabs. That's exactly what they feel like. And that's why it's very disheartening because of one, her talent, the actress, and two, that it's Rennie fucking Harlan. I've said many times that's like a very disheartening thing to see him making movies that have no style. The pool scene in Pray at Night has more style, creativity, uh, camera work, the sound design, all of that than any scene in all of chapter 1 and 2. Just in that one pool scene. That's how much is lacking for me in chapter 1 and 2. But those movies, I don't know. I'm not excited for chapter 3, obviously. Curse of the Sleeping Beauty. I never saw that one. Nice. Yeah, I mean, I can see that. I mean, she's good. She does a very good job, and she has a lot to rest on her because, like I said, or was gonna say, you can cut these 3 chapters into one film. You could have easily had them as one movie, but no, it's because they wanted to milk this franchise and the Stranger's Name. That's the only justification for why there's 3 chapters. Get the hell out of here. No one does that for a premise so bare bones as this. It's all about the money. I would bet my life on it. It's not even a doubt. And that's another thing that makes it very disheartening. They easily could have condensed it all. Like I said, chapter 2, an hour and 20 minutes of her being chased. You could have made that the second act of one movie and have condensed, and maybe you would have had a decent film with all 3 chapters condensed into one. And of course, I should take the moment to say this. I don't feel like I have to because most everyone knows me at this point. And what's up, Cal? I see you in there. Um, I speak with a lot of conviction on my opinions, and that's just how I am. But of course, and I don't feel like I have to clarify this. Everything I say is my opinion and just how I feel. It's not how you feel. I'm glad if people love it. If they love chapters 1 and 2, more power to them. I'm so happy. But everything I say is just that's how I feel. Don't take anything I say as any type of truth or anything like that. I always joke, don't take medical advice. Anything I joke about on here, you will die. Like absolutely 100%. So I'm just a guy who talks movies and nitpicks stuff. I love the use of music that Bertino utilizes in a lot of his movies, but especially this film, which even though he didn't direct, I forget who directed Pray at Night. Who directed it? Like Johann Roberts? Is that his last name? I forget his last name. Bertino co-wrote it, but whoever directed it, I mean, he did a great job. Funny Games remake is fucking phenomenal. I love that movie. We were just talking about that recently. If you like that film, I did a deep dive on that a while back. Search for it on the channel. I like the original too. It's excellent also, but I prefer the remake just because it's the cast. That's basically what it is. It's the cast. You got Michael Pitt, who's the MVP of that whole movie. His performance is unbelievable. And actually, you just gave me an idea too, so thank you. I'll mention it in a second. But his performance is unreal. And then I love Naomi Watts. I adore her in everything. I love Tim Roth in pretty much everything I've seen him in. And I love the breaking the fourth wall, everything about it. And it's a shot for shot remake, so everything's the same. So that's the only reason I prefer the remake. But it is a very good film that predates this one by a year as well. Just like Them. Or Them was 2006, right? 2006 or 7. But Cal, what is up? How would they? They're all dead at the end of Pray at Night. They are beyond dead at the end of that. That's another thing. We'll talk about it tonight when we watch Pray at Night. But there's no interpretation of that ending other than she gets the knock at the door or she hears the toy squeak. It's just that she's fucked up forever. It's her trauma. It's to portray that she's never recovering from that. She shot. Dollface is stabbed to death. Man in the Mask was burnt to a crisp, still managed to survive and cling to life before having his face bashed in with a baseball bat or whatever. Yeah, baseball bat on a truck and roll away. And Dollface was shot point blank in the face with a shotgun. And a shot prior to that. They're all dead. And because they're not supernatural, they're people. So, I mean, that's the thing. You're not bringing them back like, any other thing. We know Freddy's Dead is your favorite. You're proud of me? You're proud of I admitted it. I admitted it, but you weren't here when I admitted it. So, it doesn't count anymore. Opinion changed. No, of course. Everybody knows that. I just clarify that for newer people because I know I can be very strong in my convictions and the way I say things. But it's all. That's the best part about doing this is having different opinions and talking about it. Oh yeah, that's right, Tasha. You survived you survived Freddy. That's not a feat that many can say. Yes, Tasha does have good taste. He didn't come and say hi, huh? Hey, what's up, Tiger? How you doing? The one girl survives, and either his one last has to come for her, or other members of the strangers come for her years later in the psych ward. Yeah, I don't like any of that. I like it just how it ends like that, with them dead. I'll give you a good example. The way Three from Hell fucked the whole amazing ending we got with Devil's Rejects. And that amazing montage and not montage, but scene set to Freebird and Skinner, and then they're driving and then the shootout and they all get killed. And then they retcon that like 15 years later, way too late, and deliver a super subpar, mostly not that great of a movie. That's basically what they would have to do something like that, is say that Dollface survived. How? She's in the middle of nowhere. She was stabbed to death right there. She ain't surviving that. Who's coming and helping her in the first place? If the ambulances did arrive, who's helping the murderer? I mean, they wouldn't be able to pull that off. But I would say and agree with if they were to, like I said, if they took these 3 chapters and made them one film, but better in every way than what we've seen so far in the first 2 chapters, just like a totally different idea, story, something, even what you were proposing, but like a third movie that's a reboot idea in a way, because you would have to, instead of this obvious cash grab, which is 3 chapters spread out like this, which is insane. And I don't want to bet fully, but I have a strong feeling chapter 3 is not going to come to theaters. It'll probably go to streaming. Ready for, hey Stacy, what's going on? Ready for life. Still love a lot of his great films. Oh, this one they put the, she's playing with the piano and there's the record playing. They have so many candles in this house. And this, they commit a huge crime, this couple, so maybe they deserve it, because they leave a whole friggin' thing of ice cream on the counter for half of this movie before the strangers even start breaking in and doing their thing. How dare they? They deserve everything that happens to them. You don't waste ice cream like that. Hey, what's up, April? How you doing? Yes, this is a very good movie. We are also doing the sequel tonight at 11. Have a good stream, buddy. I can't wait for the Good Stranger tonight. Yeah, see, so that's one of that's why I love Cal, because we'll go back and forth fucking with each other on opinions and difference in opinions, and then we'll just have so many movies that's just like, yeah, hell yeah, that's the best one. So yeah, see you for the better one tonight for sure. Have a good day, man. Thanks for stopping by. Yeah, you can't waste ice cream. Who does that? Here you go. He's the famous lion. It's Tom or home. And there's so many things that could go wrong with this plan so easily. She unscrews the light bulb, which is smart because she can't show up in a fucking mask when she knocks asking for Tabara without creeping them out immensely, much more than they would now. So she has to use her face, but she unscrews the light bulb so it's really dark. Well, what if they open the door and realize that, well, it's dark out here, this should be on? They screw the light bulb on. Or he comes out with a flashlight, or he has his phone and just shines it in your face. And there's so many things that can go wrong with all their plans. And the man in the mask loves destroying vehicles. That's one thing, that's like his fetish. This motherfucker loves destroying truck after truck after truck, driving it into buildings, driving it into people, trying to run them down. It's almost like they're trying to get caught. I don't know what kind. I can't tell. If they show it again, I'll try to see. They might have even mentioned it earlier. Did they mention Rocky Road? Like, did they? I'm thinking Rocky Road for some reason, which is even more of a crime and justification for their deaths. That's right. That's when as you'll probably hear, the smoke alarm starts going off. But yeah, Prey at Night is much more of a. It's not a slasher film. That's another thing that I'll never call that film a slasher film. It has much more slasher. It has a lot of slasher elements, much more than this movie. But there's no real body count except for the aunt and uncle, which you just see the aftermath of, and the parents, right? Yeah, that's it. I don't see that as a slasher movie at all. It's just another home invasion film that's not at their home. It just happens to be in a really conveniently empty trailer park for like 4th of July or Labor Day weekend. I think it's Labor Day weekend that they try to explain that away and Pray at Night when they're driving there. It's like, it's Labor Day weekend. No one's going to be here. It's just going to be them. Hey, what's going on, Daniela? How are you? Happy spooky season. Haven't seen you in a while. Good to see you. Have you seen Empire Records? I know Empire Records, like the record label, or are you talking about a movie called Empire Records? Because if so, no, I have not. That's what I'm saying, right? Rocky Road, if that's what it is. I think, I don't know why that's sticking out, or maybe it's just coming to mind because that is one of the best ice cream brands out there. So the battery's dead on her phone, her cell phone. She's charging it. That's right, because he ran out for cigarettes and left her ass alone here. After a creepy knock at the door, asking if some woman that they've never heard of is home. That's something that's common throughout both of these movies, this and the sequel. The decisions that these people make. I mean, I get it. It's a terrifying situation. And I can't for sure say what I would do in the situation if I was in it. But there are some dumb fucking decisions that are made in both of these movies, and some that I can absolutely guarantee what I would do in that situation. That's a great shot. When you see the man in the mask in the background, when she's smoking the cigarette in the kitchen, she's walking around the countertop, and you just see the man in the mask with the bag on his head, and he's right in the darkness and doesn't really draw attention to it right away. Then he just walks away, like out of frame again. That's great. That's one of the best shots in this movie. It feels very Michael Myers-esque in the original Halloween. But they are like ghosts in this movie. They're like they don't they yeah, they tap the husband. I keep wanting to say husband. They're not married. The boyfriend. And they tap him a little later when he's looking in his car or something like that, and a split second later he turns around to see who tapped him, and there's nobody there. There's no way that anyone's doing that. I think they're a lot more realistic in Pray at Night. They're like borderline supernatural in this movie. I have a theory of why I think this movie did so well when it came out. Think 2008, right? And by that point, we were getting a Saw entry every year. We had, well, Hostel, not for another year, but I hate the term torture porn, but like those type of movies, we were getting remakes of slasher films like crazy. And then you have something like this that's very realistic, something that happens and can happen. And there's no boogeyman, there's no crazy slasher killer, there's no supernatural aspects, even though, like I said, they cheat a bit here and they are supernatural. But these are just crazy people with no motive who break into a house and psychologically and physically torture people until they murder them and move on to the next family or group or whoever they go after. That's scary. And I think that's a big reason why this movie did as well as it did, because it hit so close to home for a lot of people. I mean, this is your home. This where you're supposed to feel the safest. And then you have strangers coming in and threatening your entire livelihood and your life and your everything. That's terrifying. And I think what the landscape horror was at in the mid 2000s, when this came out, there wasn't a lot of movies like that. I mean, Saw is not that realistic of a franchise. I love it. It's one of my favorite franchises, but it's no one's, thinking that's going to happen to them, even though you never know. I mean, just like this, you have some crazy killer kidnap you, but it's a lot more elaborate and insane. This happens, and it's based heavily off of the Sharon Tate murders, the Manson murders. That's a great shot too. And then the sound design right here, this is just peak Bertino. As I said, he uses music so well in his films and sound. When she gets startled at the window and you see the man in the mask on the other side of it, and she screams, she hits the record player, and then it just loops. And loops over and over again while dealing with all of this. She just saw some creep ass guy in the window with a mask on, and now she's holding a knife, fearing for her life. And the sound, she'll never get that sound out of her head for the rest of the night because she dies at the end of this. That's another thing we'll talk about with the end. But do you guys think she survives the end of this movie? I don't. She's dead at the end. She don't survive this. She screams at the end. That's like her death throw. Because then they'd still have to get an ambulance there. Their phones were all fucked, so they can't use. The kids can't call with a phone in that house. They'd have to find a neighboring place. The ambulance would have to get there, and she'd be bled out by then. She's dead. I don't know if it's been open for interpretation, like if people do think she survives. So I mean, let me know if some of you do. I just immediately always took it. They both get killed. What are the horror movies from this year? I have a lot of stuff I got to catch up on, like new release wise. But I really liked Weapons a lot. I still think it was a little overhyped, but I think it was mostly an excellent movie, despite having some things in it that just, I don't know, it didn't work for me, and I kind of left me like that's it, like that's all this was this whole time. Besides some negatives, I really thought it was mostly an excellent movie, and that's coming from somebody who didn't like Barbarian. I didn't like that one at all. Oh, from that year, from 2008. Um, I don't know. Let's look up 2008 horror movies. Um, all right, we got. Oh, that's right. You got Eden Lake. You got Martyrs. Both excellent movies. Um, Splinter. Splinter is another great film. Very underrated creature feature. Cloverfield, I never cared much for. I do like found footage a lot, and I know that was a big one back then, but never really worked for me. Um, Shutter, I don't really remember that too much. So which means I didn't really care for it. Oh, we got the Prom Night remake, which was god awful. Midnight Meat Train, that's a good one. Got Mirrors, Dead Girl, that's a wild movie. Asylum, The Ruins, that's a pretty good one. The One Miss Call remake is terrible. Let the Right One In. That's top right there. Not number one yet, but that's in the top three. I love Let the Right One In. Thanks Killing. That's number one right there. To kill a turkey. Get out of here. Those movies are so stupid. Saw 5 came out in '08. That's right. 5 is my least favorite in the original 7, so that would not be high up. Train with Thora Birch is a very underrated film too. That's a very good movie. If you haven't seen Train from 2008 with Thora Birch, I know sometimes it is billed or put the date is 2009, the year, instead of 2008. So it's one of those movies, '08, '09. But check out Train. That's a very underrated, under talked about film. Oh, Tokyo Gore Police. That's great. That's another top one there. I haven't seen that in a decent while though, many years. I should do a video on that sometime soon. Pulse 3. Oh no, the remake Pulse 3. All right, so I never saw that because it sucks. I don't even have to see it. Feast 2. That's another great one. That came out in '08. Man, there's a lot of movies that came out. The Happening is awful for the most part. That was like the first whatever amount that came up. So probably Let the Right One In might actually be the number one out of all of those. Martyrs. It would be between Martyrs and Let the Right One In for the 2008 movies. But Eden Lake's a really, really good movie too. That was actually a pretty damn good year. Going through whatever that was, 20, 30 movies quick. A pretty damn good year for horror. Yeah, it's a great one. That's such a good one. South Korean, right? Um, it's so vastly superior to the remake, The Uninvited. That was 2009, right? The Uninvited. Um, I like The Uninvited. I like that remake actually, but it has nothing on the original Tale of Two Sisters. Just the scene alone. I mean, the kitchen scene, that whole scene is so tense. There's a great jump scare in it. The scene when she's in bed and the ghost like gets on top of her and then she wakes up after like getting the shit scared out of her in her nightmare. I mean, all of that is great. There's so many really tense scenes in that one. The Uninvited really is lacking on all of that. All the tension, most of the atmosphere. That's right. Now he sees the truck, right? The truck comes and tries to run him down. You'd think they'd be focusing more on trying to get out of there than just like exploring around the property and trying to find the obvious psychopaths. You'd think they'd try to spend a little more time trying to like, get the fuck out and go anywhere else. Just run as far as possible. This guy's been outside for a good minute and a half. He couldn't have made a full on sprint and gotten out of there and got help. The two of them could have done that together. But then again, you wouldn't have a movie. But if it was real life, you wouldn't have a dead me because I'd be running for my life and I'd be out of there. Always got to consider both sides. And then what do we got tomorrow? What movies are tomorrow? What's tomorrow? The 29th, right? We have Day of the Dead for the late night tomorrow, and Peter Jackson's Dead Alive or Brain Dead for the matinee. Then we got From Beyond with Matt or Pugwall on for the matinee on the 30th, and we have The Thing, best movie ever made, on the 30th for the late night. Then we got Trick or Treat for the matinee on Halloween, Trilogy of Terror for an evening on Halloween, and then late night is Carpenter's Halloween. Which I know Goraphobe is joining for Halloween. I know Nanette will probably join for that, and Trick or Treat probably. And anybody else who wants to join any of those streams, let me know. Liv Tyler gives a really, really good performance in this movie. And despite she's gorgeous too. I mean, that's another thing. But she really looks terrified throughout this film. Yeah, here he comes with the truck, right? Yep. Slams right in the back of them. Like I said, Man in the Mask, he loves destroying things with his truck. That's a cool shot of Pinup Girl. Actually, that was Pinup Girl who just drove the truck into them. I don't think I ever realized that. Because they show briefly that they're in their car, and then they look over and they see the Man in the Mask standing there, and then the truck slams into him. So it's Pinup Girl. Which that's what I mean. You see the Man in the Mask with Pinup Girl a lot more than you see Dollface with either of them in both of these films. So I really wonder if Bertino like wrote it that way and had that in mind, that they had a history and Dollface is like the new one. And that's basically her gang initiation. Like, go up to that door, say this Tamara stuff. They turn that light bulb, screw it back in. You know, you're taking all the shit and we're leaving you. All right, so they do this in Pray at Night also. But actually, now that I'm thinking about it, in Pray at Night, it actually makes more sense with the hello written all over the window, like dozens of times, just hello written over and over again. Who did that and when in this movie? I mean, just the mental image it gives me of one of the strangers. We just saw Pinup Girl ram the truck into them, and we saw the Man in the Mask standing there, and it looks like girly handwriting. So I'm going to guess it's Dollface, but when just the mental image you get from it, that this girl in a mask like snuck in or she wrote hello, and just seeing her writing it over and over again is so funny. There's no way she took the time to do all that. And Pray at Night, it makes sense because there's no time limit. You see it in the room, in the trailer where the aunt and uncle are found dead. So they could have written hello all over their window at any time before the family got there. This is during all of this when I mean they would have easily saw that. It's just a funny mental image. Just picture Dollface come in, scribble it like and spend like 2 minutes there writing hello and then just like hop back out. How does this guy miss that shotgun blast and miss hitting Man in the Mask? Hey, what's up, Scott? How you doing, man? Just ate a honey bun. Sounds good. Would I be in this or the poltergeist house? I'd rather be in this house because I'd fucking annihilate these three people. I'd get that shotgun would have been the first thing I do was look for that shotgun. And if I forget where this house is this their vacation home or is it a place that they're staying after the wedding? I know it's after the wedding, but I forget who owns it. So I mean, if it was my place, I would have the gun ready and know where it is. He had to look for it, but that would still be the first thing I do. And the first chance you get that you're pointing that at one of them, you better believe I'm blasting the hell out of them. So, poltergeist house, on the other hand, you're dealing with poltergeists and things that we have no understanding of. And you, unfortunately, in any movie that I've really seen, you can't blast a poltergeist in the face with a shotgun. So I would definitely pick this house for all those aforementioned reasons. Not act like a tough guy either, because let's not forget, Prey at Night, their asses are handed to them by a 15-year-old girl getting shipped to boarding school. So they're just human beings. Slash kind of supernatural in this movie, especially. This is when it happens too, isn't it? Oh no, here's Dennis from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. He makes his random appearance here just to get shot in the face by accident, which is one of my favorite shows ever, by the way. It's Always Sunny. You've never seen the Stranger movie, Sasha? Um, Probably. I mean, you don't have to. To sum it up, three strangers break into a house and kill a couple. Sequel. Like, that's all really you need to know. So it's not essential, but it is a great film. And if you get a chance to, definitely try to. But that's basically, if there was a previously on The Strangers, that's what it would be. It'd be a couple murdered in a house by three strangers, and and then it would go on to start Prey at Night. That's a cool question. What are like the strangers' killer influences, right? Like what serial killers maybe do they admire or something, or what their real motives might be. I mean, it's very. I like that they have no motive, but that's different having no motive than studying and admiring a serial killer. Like they might. Manson would probably be one, even though he's not a serial killer technically. I mean, even though he did stab that gang member, or he killed that gang member, right? The Black Panther. But this is also heavily based off of the Manson murders too. But I think in the way that it seems that they've recruited Dollface, almost like I said, I'm not sure how to take the last line in this. We'll talk about it more at the end, but did she just come on more recently? The fact that they recruited her though, that's very like Manson-esque. And with the way they're taking it looks like chapter 3 is going, and it's kind of implied in the first two chapters that the whole town kind of knows about the strangers in the like reboot universe. They know about the strangers and what they do, and so who knows if they're going to take it into they're all involved and there's more stranger. Who knows how they're going to take that terrible stuff? But maybe they're inspired by The Shining and Jack Torrance, Man in the Mask, because he loves that axe. And there he is right there with it, sneaking up on Dennis. And he doesn't even get a chance to use it. because the boyfriend ends up shooting Dennis's face off by accident, which you can't blame him. I mean, it sucks, but I don't blame him at all for that. He had no idea that he was coming over, and he's been dealing with all of this. You see someone walk in front of a doorway, and you know that you got people like trying to kill you. Absolutely, you can't blame him. And he feels terrible. He is so broken over that. Rennie, you'd like to see Rennie play a stranger? Maybe if they go that direction, maybe they'll have Rennie do a cameo under a mask of one of the other strangers that joins the troop, or is part of a cult or some shit that worships them. I also don't like about the two new chapters what the hell they did to both Dollface and Pinup Girl. Like their hair doesn't show; it's just like up, like a black, like what's the word? Like a sleeve or some shit like that covers the top of their heads. I don't like that. I don't like that they call the man in the mask Scarecrow instead of Man in the Mask. Like, I don't know why they changed that. That's awful too. There's almost nothing positive about the new chapters for me, except for Pesh's performance. Yeah, what up, Synth? How you doing, brother? Yeah, like that would have been more interesting than in as one movie, as a new idea, and rebooting, the characters because they're dead at the end of Friday Night, and not doing a whole 3 chapter drag out of a story that's barely a movie. But I said also that maybe the Man in the Mask is a fan of Jack Torrance and The Shining, because we don't know in this movie, but in Pray at Night, and it was co-written by Bertino and everything, so it's canon. Like they're the same strangers. They're huge '80s music fans, and there's so much '80s music and great songs in that. And just like I forget the guy's name who directed Pray at Night, Johann something. I want to say Johann Roberts, but I'm not sure if that's right, his last name. But just like Bertino does, he did the same thing in Pray at Night by using sound and music to such an excellent degree. But we know they're big '80s music fans, so maybe they're big '80s horror fans too, and maybe they're big horror fans. James, that's the husband. I see. I keep saying fucking husband. It's not her husband. She turned his ass down, which he still would have been just a fiance until it was all finalized. It doesn't matter. 52 minutes into the movie, we got James's name. And there's still just the idea, the brilliant one I had earlier of what to do in the situation of try to get away from this place as fast as possible, still hasn't really crossed their mind. They're just walking around the house, looking around like they're like, let's find the killers so we can kill them. No, let's run. The only thing I don't like about Pray at Night as much is that pinup, not pinup girl, yeah, pinup girl. It's so confusing with the three of them. Uh, Not really with Man in the Mask, but pinup girl's not really in it. She's in like 2 scenes. I remember she's in the best scene in the movie and then gets killed. And then she's has that great jump scare a little earlier than that. That's, I think, from my memory, the only time she's on screen, except for the little store that leads to the pool before that whole amazing scene. That's it. Like, she's barely in that film. I love the music in this. Not the soundtrack, like the actual songs they use, but the score. It's very like moody, has like a brooding feel to it, sound to it. Like again, she's just cowering in a corner, like with her legs up, and like she's just like sitting there. Those legs work, right? I mean, she was walking a second ago. They could run. She's standing up right now. Her legs work. There you go. Now you start running. There you go. Smart girl. And of course, though, like any horror movie, she has to trip. Liv Tyler, if she was said no to this, who would I get? I'm not good with questions like that, honestly. I don't really ever think of that, and I'm terrible at thinking and answering them because I feel like anybody could have came in. Not anybody could play the role. That's not what I'm saying, but there's so many actresses or actors in whatever case that could come in and do just as good of a job because we wouldn't know it because we wouldn't have Liv Tyler's performance to compare it to, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? So I mean, if we had no Liv Tyler and we never saw her performance in this and it was a completely different actress, we'd probably be praising her performance because she was probably picked as the best one, by casting. So that's why it's hard for me to answer questions like that, hypotheticals like that one. The fun hypotheticals, that's always fun. That one is hard for me. Those type of ones. And I'm not like the type of person like I'd like to see this actress or actor in this or like whoever they thought was best. Kind of like with Halloween with Michael Myers, his mask, and how it was between Michael's mask and what became his mask, the Shatner mask, and the clown mask. If they picked the clown mask, we would have never seen the mask we know and love today. So we wouldn't be able to compare what if the clown mask would have been better or scary or anything like that because we know this mask. You know what I mean? So it's hard to do those hypotheticals unless you can see and experience both versions, in two different realities, which nobody can do to really get the feel of what it would be like if it was different. My family has a cabin near Lake Tahoe, and when I was a kid, there were murders that happened not far from there. It always scared me as a kid, and this movie slightly reignited that fear. Yeah, my family's cabin is upstate, and it's right on a river, Salmon River up there. Everyone, it's great for salmon fishing. Same thing. I mean, it's spooky up there, bro. Like it really is. If you go out on the deck at night, I go out to smoke or something like that, and I don't turn the light on, like the porch light, the deck light, and you just stare into the woods, it is so dark that I'm afraid Bigfoot is out there, and we don't know anything about Bigfoot if he's real. How do you know they're slow as shit? He's probably fast as hell. He can make his way out of that forest up the stairs and be on my ass before I even know what's going on. So I tend to not go out and smoke outside actually when I'm up there. Not because I think Bigfoot's out there either, but it's just spooky. I'd say hate a Bigfoot. Let's chill, bro. Now she's trying to use the ham radio or whatever. Love all the sound. If they picked the clown mask, you would have had an issue. Yeah, but that's what I mean. You wouldn't though, because if they picked the clown mask, then none of us would ever know what the his mask is. You know what it is. We would have no idea what it is. We would know just Michael Myers as the guy in the clown mask. You know what I mean? So it's like you can't separate those two realities, from a choice that was made, because we know the one so well. Oh yeah, well, it's spookier. You're saying? I'm sure it is, man. I'm sure it is. Just don't take your Jack Link's beef jerky, and you will be good. I almost read Jersey like you're typed, but I knew you were talking jerky. I love those commercials too, by the way, with the Sasquatch in them. Oh, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, we gotta bombard you with clown images. Yeah, what up, Keith? Yeah, me too. But not as much as Prey at Night. And not as much as many people do. I mean, I know people who put this as like their favorite horror movie or like in their top horror films and stuff. This is nowhere close for me. Anything like that. But it's an excellent film. Prey at Night, I'll even admit, probably isn't. No, I'm not even. Fuck that. I'm not saying it's not a good film, as good or well made a film. It's just as well made as this movie. It's just different. It's very different. I stand by that shit. I love Prey at Night. I think it's just as well made as this movie. Yeah, no, she does. We were just talking her performance a little bit ago. Well, I was. You do that, I'll drive the 6 hours to kick your ass. Okay, maybe I'll do it. Maybe I won't. Oh yeah, dude. I mean, the atmosphere and tension in this film is excellent. That's the biggest thing going for it. It's just that slow build atmosphere that Bertino is, well known for. Which is, I was very disappointed with his new movie with Dakota Fanning with Vicious, because I was so confused on how I felt about that movie after it ended. I was like, I really wanted to like it, and part of me liked a lot of things in it, but then part of me just couldn't get on board with a lot of other things, and it was kind of disappointing because it's been a few years, right, since Bertino's last movie. I did what? Vicious? Did you see that one? Oh no. Yeah, it's in his new one, Bryan Bertino's newest movie with Dakota Fanning. It's very reminiscent of The Box with Cameron Diaz and James Marsden, based off the Twilight Zone episode Button Button. It's very similar to that. Not very, very, just in the, I couldn't get past it though, the whole movie. In the fact that a stranger drops off a mysterious box and gives some rules and then leaves and then it passes on to somebody else. Like there's a lot of beats that are exactly the same. But besides that, it's not like the same story after that, like what they have to do with the box. But it's this whole take on depression and anxiety and mental illness, and it tries to be too many things. Yeah, vicious. It tries to be too many things, like too many subgenres. It tries to shove in there, like supernatural horror and like a cursed object movie, and some home invasion aspects even too, and just a whole bunch of stuff. So like even some Saw type stuff, and too much stuff going on in the kitchen. But great sound design and use of music. Just that's like my favorite thing about Bertino's directing style. But yeah, like the mood here is so good. With just the candle, that's lighting the room, and the man in the mask is walking through it, and the shadow and the lighting, everything's great. She's trying to hide in the shadows. It's so creepy. Um, I'm not sure. It's only Dakota Fanning is like 98% of the movie. So there are like two or three other characters, and no, I don't think he's in that one. No. That is true. The Birds did not have a score, which is interesting. Oh, you're talking about the movie The Box, not a Vicious. Yeah, and he has like the big disfigurement on his face. Yeah, that's a good movie. I always liked The Box. I love how he sits down, just sits down on the couch, the man in the mask, and she's hiding in the closet, and she was just standing here. Tom Cruise locked in the closet. I mean, it's worth a watch, Keith. It wasn't terrible or a waste of time, but it wasn't great. It was not great. And there is a lot of good themes explored in like I said, like depression, anxiety, mental illness, grief, guilt. But I also thought too while watching it that I'm really getting tired. Anybody else of how it seems like the last several years since like Hereditary, with all the movies, the horror movies that are about grief and loss and trauma and stuff, I'm really getting over it. Like I want it to be done with. Move on. Let's move on to the next chapter in the horror years, because it's really getting old for me. Like Talk to Me and Bring Her Back, and so many movies. It's been the thing for the last like 8 years. Bring back some like good old fun balls to the wall creature features or something. Dollface is so creepy. And just the way they psychologically fuck with her. That's what makes this so terrifying, and so it invokes so much fear in basically anybody who's ever been alone, you know, in their residence, or just with somebody else, and a late knock at the door. The way that she just slowly picks the knife up, Dollface, and she's just sliding, she's toying with it on the counter in front of Kristen, and she's twirling it around a little bit. Then she slowly moves it. All deliberate stuff, all meticulously planned in her head to just mess with her and break her down in every single way. That's what really makes it terrifying. And then how she taunts, that's right, I forgot that. She says, "You're going to die." She just straight up says it right to her. Oh, let's see if I could figure out the poll thing again on the YouTube app on the phone, because for some reason I couldn't get it working on the app last night. Let's see. Nope, for some reason, not working. But here's a Beast Within emoji. And Keith will appreciate these emojis. I don't know. I can't figure it out. But which stranger do you guys think is the scariest? Which one would freak you out the most if you saw them, that one staring right at you and standing in front of you with a knife or an axe? Is it the man in the mask, doll face, or pinup girl? Which do you think is the most terrifying of the three? Yeah, I love The Beast Within, man. That's so good. It's one of my favorite 80s creature features. And yeah, that transformation scene will fuck you up. Seeing that young. I don't remember when I saw that. I saw that, I think, maybe in my teens. It wasn't like before 10. I know that. It was later. But it's been a favorite ever since I saw it. I mean, it's so out there, that movie. And everything with the cicadas, all of that. It's so ridiculous. It's so out there, but it's something that you never see again, and never saw before that. There's never been a movie like The Beast Within. And the whole metaphor for cicadas and transforming and every 17 years this monster reemerges from somebody. It's so ridiculous and out there, but it's so cool. It's so well made for the budget too, for a schlocky like B creature feature from 82. So good. Here's the famous line. They're tied up in the chairs. It's morning. And this is when they know that they're fucked, when the three of them take their masks off. Because as soon as they take those masks off, there's no way out of this. We know what they look like now. We're dead. They're killing us. There's no talking your way out of this. There's no pleading with these people. There's none of that. Yeah, that's right. Keith Ronnie Cox in it. Yeah, it was yeah, not his usual stuff, right? Yo, what up, CBD? No, not really. Actually, maybe a little bit, because yesterday I moved the matinee because I was actually pretty tired. So I guess yeah, partially. But there was a few reasons I moved two matinees the last 2 days actually, and pushed them to one on Halloween and one on the first. Because one, just because I knew I had different people joining for certain movies, so I knew I'd have to probably change some stuff around. And also StreamYard friggin' gives you 20 hours for free. This what everyone uses to stream on YouTube like this. And they jacked the price up to like $50 to upgrade to like the pro version or whatever, and you get endless hours. And I wasn't sure if I was gonna, have enough hours. And then I checked, and if I moved that one yesterday when I was feeling pretty tired and moved it to Saturday, they reset tomorrow. So after tonight, the hours reset. So I'm good for the rest of the week. So all those moving parts was came into play. But yeah, I was actually pretty exhausted yesterday because I don't usually do watch-alongs like this often. I mean, I try to do maybe like one a week or one every 2 weeks, and then we got to get back to the Twin Peaks watch along. We're up to season 2, episode 7 or 8. I think episode 8 every other week. So once Halloween ends, it'll be back to reviews and deep dives more often than like a watch a week or something like that. I'm just going all out for Halloween week because I knew I wouldn't be able to have time and stuff to edit and record a bunch of videos or try to do like a 31 days of Halloween, especially because I had life shit I had to deal with like the last 2 months, and I was traveling to a few places and I was away from home for a bit. So I knew I wasn't going to be able to get a start on Halloween until like the first week passed already of October. So I knew I wasn't going to be able to do a 31 day thing or anything like that. So I said, you know what? I'll do the same thing I did last year. Double watch alongs. That way we're fitting like 16, 17 movies or so into the month and just cram it into the week leading up. So they kill them. They're dead. And the whole reason why are you doing this? Because you were home. I just like almost everything with Pray at Night. I like the line better in that Dollface says to Kinsey when she says, "Why are you doing it? Why are you doing this to us? Why not?" Great too. I like that one better, but they're both very good. Yeah, that's just your nickname now, man. It's just so much easier to say than the whole thing. So that works. Yeah, he's not in here, right? No, he has some issues. Like he's not all there. He's handicapped in some ways. So I mean, he's the sweetest person ever, and he's this has no drama at all. He's the kindest person, but no matter how much you tell him something, it doesn't happen. You know what I mean? Like I've told him for the last year and a half, you don't have to delete your YouTube channel. You can just keep posting videos like on the same one. And yeah, I know. I'm going to keep my channel and post, and then it's gone. And then another one. And then he posts his first YouTube video. It's just how it is. I just try to be nice to him, keep encouraging him. But after a while, it's like a broken record, just like in the Stranger movie here. Yeah, definitely. Both the films are the original here and the sequel, Pray at Night, which we are doing tonight. Yeah, he did it again, I guess. I don't know. I don't get it. Like I said, I mean, I know why, and I'm not laughing at him. It's just the situation. Yes, the OG. That's a new one. I've thought the same thing. It's funny you said that because I've thought that many, many times in the past. If they monitor him, like his social media and stuff, because of conditions and to be safe, which is great and that's fine. If they feel they need to do that, but I have thought about that. No, he's great. He's a very nice kid. As I just read your thing saying the same thing. Yeah, very, very, very nice kid. He wouldn't harm a fly. But I mean, I can't say that 100%. Who the fuck knows of anybody, right? But to all accounts, and known him for a while, would hurt a fly. But that's The Strangers from 2008. Yeah, excellent movie and great tension. That's the biggest thing: the sound and the tension and the atmosphere in this movie. That's what really drives the whole the whole thing home and really makes it really that terrifying that this happens all the time. People break in, there's psychopaths, and then the real evil people are human beings, the evil side of man. And it's very effective. It was back then, and I think just as much today. So, all right, guys, we got the better Strangers movie, though, tonight at 11, Strangers Pray at Night, which, yeah, I prefer in every single way. So, everybody, thanks for hanging out, and I will talk to you later. And also,